I probably shouldn't give you my secret weapon. Number of home runs, we went from 11
Way back. There it goes.
to 31 home runs. Look at some of the guys who have been here for the last 3 years. Look at the direction that they went in. You know, proof's in the numbers, the proof's in the pudding. My name's Phil Price. I'm the head baseball coach at Worcester State University. I just completed my 3rd year. I'm going into my 4th season here. Last year in 2025 season, we finished 23-14. The baseball program didn't command a lot of respect, I guess, in my opinion, which is part of the reason why I was brought in to help change the culture. You know, one of the things that I was challenged with was getting the players to buy into the idea that it's not just important to be a good baseball player, but you know, an academic weapon too, and to the point where, like, you know, we want to graduate these kids. So this is our weight room in here. One of the big changes that we made too was like adding the weight to our program. In the years past, we really didn't do that. So what's cool about this room too is like took into account like the views of campus, but we find times for our baseball team on our own. And the captains will run a lifting program. So like in the fall, that kind of keeps our numbers, because at the D3 level, we're only allowed like 24 dates or something like that. So by minimizing my involvement with them, but then they maximize their time together. And it kind of like, it's cool too, because it holds them accountable. If they're doing the hard things, you know, throwing around the weights and doing all that, like getting up early, staying out here in here late, if they're doing all that stuff, when they get on that baseball field, it's so much easier. So they really gel.
The first time Coach told you you're going to be using AI to start working on your swing, what did you think of that?
I was kind of skeptical about it, you know. It sounds odd. I didn't know if I totally believed it at first.
My decision to incorporate Pelotero into our culture actually came from one of my best friends, Chris Colabello. I've always known him for years, but we kind of connected, I want to say 2019, and it was in the beginning stages developing the software. He spent a lot of time at my travel baseball organization's facilities. I let him do a lot of testing there. So I got to see it up close, like from its beginning stages to where it is now. I was a little bit intimidated. The more and more I talked with Chris and really started to understand how it could benefit our players, that's when I was all in on it. I lost my hitting coach this year, and I didn't really have time to get a hitting coach who I trusted. So that might have forced my hand a little bit with Pelotero, because I knew what Pelotero could do. I think one of the greatest features of it is not just like the drill work, you know, the tech side of it all, like, but it's actually the accountability that it holds the players to. It was amazing. So we put our guys through, we did the mocap, we did the bat sensor testing, and I just told the guys, like, this is what you're gonna do, and we're gonna follow it daily. This is the video that I took of him. His current score generated on March 8th, his performance, plane, direction, and when you hover over it, it will give you a description of those. Bat speed, barrel impact, momentum. Up here, poor, average, great. You can see X's. He's got all great scores. These details inside are what gives him that score. Again, you hover over it, it shows the overlay with pro guys, what is right and what is wrong. First time I actually looked at this video for X, and one of the things I know about him, he falls back. That video of X, they were able to pull the deficiencies in his swing. This is one of his warm-up dry swings that he has to do before he goes into his actual drill work, again, to help him keep his hands up and staying on top of the ball. This is where we do our winter work. I mentioned before, I own a travel baseball organization in Shrewsbury, Mass, and it's a pretty decent sized facility, and the reason why I bring that up, because I work this space in conjunction with that space over there. So our team will go meet at my place in Shrewsbury, and so we go live. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are back here. And this is the space that we do a lot of our skill development stuff. So the guys are always here. They'll study in the batting cages in between reps. Like, you know, the culture is really starting to like take shape, and they're owning it on their own.
The culture has changed a lot since my first year here, and every year it gets better. Guys work super hard. The guys coming in behind them work even harder, and the guys work behind them work even harder. It's good, there's guys pushing each other on all fronts, on the field, off the field.
So in here, batting cages, what's cool about this space in here, it's pretty exclusive to baseball, softball. Most programs don't have that dedicated space. They have a parquet floor with cages that come down, or they're tucked in the back. They have to schedule their cage time around basketball or volleyball or whatever. Like, these guys are here a lot. Like I mentioned before, like there'll be guys studying. They have their laptops out, or they're taking notes or studying. Like, they're in between reps. The best thing that happened to us was our hack attacks went down. So we had to ship them up to a guy up in Maine. So we were like 2 weeks into our practice, and so it forced them to actually work on their swings and not just hitting velo. And that's where like the Pelotero piece came into play. Like, they had to dive into the Pelotero stuff because there's nothing else to do. And when they rely on something like this so much, you just gotta flip and throw. That was what I thought was really cool and effective for our guys, to the point where like next year, I'm not allowing those things to get broken out until probably week 3 or week 4. They help them discover feels and how to make adjustments on their own, and so.
It was definitely a change to be looking at my phone, because usually when I hit, I'm not gonna look at my phone, I'm just gonna focus in and focus on just hitting the baseball and just kind of like taking swings. And I would aimlessly just go in and swing, and I wouldn't really like pay attention to my mechanics or like pay attention to like where the ball was going. I was just like, his reps. Once I started using the AI, it was like, okay, like this is actually how I should be swinging.
The statistical jumps that I've seen since using Pelotero was our team batting average shot up through the roof. Our power production, number of home runs, we went from 11 home runs to 31 home runs, I believe, in a year. Our RBIs, on base percentage, our walks, number of hits, you name it, pretty impressive. Like, not just like small jumps, like massive jumps. Our 9-hitter batted 350. One of my senior captains, who was always flirting around being a career 300 hitter, this year he batted 320 to put him over the top for a career 300 hitter. So I think I had 2 guys in my lineup that batted 280 or lower. Everybody else was 300 or higher.
What was the moment that you saw and you were like, man, it feels like we've turned a corner?
Honestly, I think it was Florida.
There was one moment I remember. I usually struggle in the beginning of the year, and we were playing Hamilton down in Florida. I think I was like 0 for my last 8. When you start to struggle, you think of 100 different things. I couldn't like figure out why, and I remember that night I was in the Florida house and I looked at my Pelotero app, because I was like, there's gotta be something here. Saw like a drill. I remember doing it in BP, and I remember being in the game, and I think I went 2 for 2 that game, and just felt like I knew my swing better that day.
I left Florida with more walks than I had last year, more doubles, more everything. It was just a really good experience to use the app to like figure out what was really going on.
So the confidence of our players, in the sense that, again, when we go back into what I value out of Pelotero is the accountability piece. Part of that is what Pelotero does. It teaches the players to learn the feels, their movements, how their hands and how their body should work to the ball. And because of that, when players were struggling, they could recognize those movements and have the confidence to make the adjustments. So I think that's where it all happens. My excitement for having a guy 4 years using Pelotero and immerse in our culture, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it.
Every year it's been the closest team I've ever played on. It's just a great community of guys, great group of guys.
I was a walk-on, so they welcomed me in here, gave me a chance, and I'm forever thankful for that. As a player, I feel like I improved significantly over the years. I came out of high school not a strong hitter, more of a defensive type of guy. And these last 2 years here developing under a hitting coach and then Pelotero has been really beneficial for me.
If we did what we did with just 1 year, I mean, I'm excited. I don't want to jinx myself, but we got a lot of momentum going as is. When I have recruits on campus or I'm talking to a potential guy, Pelotero's part of the language now. And I talk a lot about it, and guys are asking questions like, oh, what's that? One of the recruits I had on a couple weeks ago, he already texted me
And he sent me a screenshot of Pelotero's website. He's like, oh, is this what you're talking about? You know, the guys I have coming back next year, even that had it for a year. I've already been talking with them. Have you been doing your Pelotero drill still? They're like, absolutely every day. Like, I can't say enough how excited I am. And seeing a guy really develop and evolve over a 4-year period using this tech, it's going to be amazing.